I love all sorts of compilation games for various different consoles, and Sega Classics Collection looks okay too. But, is it any good? Let's have a little look. There are 8 games to choose from in this collection, and they have all been remastered in some way. They are taken from the Sega Ages collection that were available for the Sega Saturn. Let's look at the first one. Columns is the ever so popular Match 3 game that everyone has probably owned at some point in their life. You can play on your own, with a second player, or against a computer. The graphics and music have been tweaked a little bit, but it doesn't look too much different from the Mega Drive version. Everyone knows how this one works, just rotate the gems to match 3 or more to make them disappear. As you level up, the game speed increases. It was a great game in its day, but time has aged this one. Fantasy Zone is a shooter where you don't just scroll through a stage, you can go backwards and forwards here to find all the large enemies and shoot them down. Once they are all down, it's on to the boss. This is a great master system game today, but it gets quite boring actually. You have guns to shoot and bombs, weapons that are sharp and direct points. Fire off the Golden Axe is a well-known arcade classic, but here they decided to make it look fuck ugly. Just look at the characters. I know at the time these were the new generation graphics, but fuck me. The gameplay is alright, but you have the same 3 enemies over and over again. They have added enemy names and health bars, as does your character, but that's the only real improvement. The character movements are jerky, and although there's a strong attack added, it actually leaves you open for attack. The magic isn't very spectacular, and honestly, the Mega Drive version is better than this. The music sounds good with a remastered soundtrack, but the rest of the game is pants. Monaco GP. When I saw this, I was expecting the Mega Drive version where you have a cockpit view. Well, it's a crappy overhead view. I hate these types of games. You have to use a left analog stick to accelerate and steer, which isn't too bad. It's the fucking cars on the track that's a big issue. Touch them and they'll blow you to bits. This gets annoying fast. If you choose the second mode, you have to use your L1 and R1 buttons to sharp steer your car to get transformed. I couldn't find any enjoyment.
Get ready.
Outrun. A popular classic here, graphics have been beefed up and so has the soundtrack. The game feels great, it's fast paced and a lot of fun. However, you do have to be good at this game as the time will run out quick, meaning you'll need to have to put your foot down hard and make no mistakes. As much as this game can piss me off, I don't hate it. It's an awesome classic that's had a small upgrade. It's just a shame they couldn't have lowered the difficulty a little bit. Tantar and Bonanza Brothers. I've never heard of Tantar before, but it's a series of mini-games, and nothing like the shovelware crap you got with Dalmatians 3 or the various other shit titles they released. There's a lot of games to play through, such as counting fish, assemble a robot, and take a picture of a fast-moving object in the viewfinder. You must get 3 correct to complete the mission. Once the game is complete, another game takes its place. Actually, not a bad time killer, to be fair. Bonanza Brothers is a game of cops and robbers where you must collect the required loot to make your way to the exit. Armed guards will stand in your way, so you need to shoot them down or kick open a door when they are behind it to stun them for a short time. There's a map to show you where the loot is located, which is very helpful. Unfortunately, it's a one-hit death here, which is a pile of shit. I've heard that a lot of people think this is an absolute classic, but I'm not convinced. It's okay for a little while, but nothing I'd rave on about. VR Racing is an F1 game which was a big deal in its day, also a big price too. It's not a big game with only 3 tracks and an arcade and Grand Prix mode. This remastered version looks pretty good, especially when you compare it to the Mega Drive version where you have square wheels. Controls are fine for this, and you do get to use the analog sticks for better steering, but you'll need to use your brakes for the corners as the car likes to head off the course a lot. But this comes at the risk of anyone ahead of you gaining more ground. The competition is very tough on arcade. It was a lot easier on Grand Prix mode, but the effort still has to be put in. And that means you have to avoid all other opponents as much as you can. Touch one of them and you'll pirouette across the track. Lastly is Space Harrier. This was a huge arcade hit, and this has a big graphical upgrade. The game is just the same as the original, but for some reason I prefer the original. It's good for a bit of fun, but the fun got sucked out of it when I couldn't complete the box. It was obviously something like a bit of fun, so I locked onto it by loading missiles. I don't know, So that's all 8 games for the Sega Classics Collection. Some are pretty good, especially Outrun, but that looks great on any system. The other ones are just old games with a bit of makeup on. And they just don't need to try and look modern. If you're a big fan of these games, then they might really appeal to you. But the only ones I'd play again are Tantar and Outrun. It's not an expensive game to get today, so it's worth getting if you're curious. Otherwise, just leave it alone and play the original.